The Financial Modeling Podcast presents The Road to London. In this season, we delve into the tools and technologies that make modeling easier and better than ever before. Then join us as we head to London for the Global Excel Summit, where the winners of the Financial Modeling Innovation Awards will be announced. Thanks to our sponsor, Gridlines. Welcome to Modeling in 2020 with your host, Matthew Bernath.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Season 3 of the Financial Modeling Podcast. This is episode 2, and with me today, I've got Kenny Whitelaw-Jones from our Season 3 sponsor, Gridlines. Hi, Kenny, and thanks very much for joining us today.
Hey, Matthew. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having me, and great job on getting to Season 3.
Absolutely. I can't believe this will be the 42nd episode of the Financial Modeling Podcast.
Wow, good job. That's amazing.
So, Kenny, so many things to look forward to this year. I mean, just over the next few months, Financial Modeling Podcast Season 3, focusing on the tools and technologies that are enabling financial modelers around the world. We've got the Financial Modeling Innovation Awards. And, of course, in April, the Global Excel Summit, where the award winners will be announced.
Lots going on, Matthew. Lots going on. It's great to be sponsoring this season. It's great to be doing this project with you and taking a run at looking at some of the really interesting new tools, techniques, technologies that are coming up all the time in modeling and that's the whole purpose of the Innovation Awards is to surface a conversation around those things, and it's great to bring it all together at the Excel Summit, which you and I will be at together in April. So I am looking forward to all of that.
Me too. I can't wait. So let's talk a bit about the Financial Modeling Innovation Award. So the last time you were on the podcast with it, which I think was back in Season 1, that's what we discussed. We discussed the Innovation Awards. So talk to us a bit about what's going on at the moment. Do we have the nominees? What's the process? What's busy happening there?
So what's busy happening is that basically as this podcast goes out, if people go to financialmodelinginnovationawards.com, financialmodelingawards.com, then there's the place there to nominate. So we're going to be getting the nominations over the next month or so, and then shortlisting and announcing the winner in April. And look, we came up with the kind of concept of the Innovation Awards, when we were talking about it back then, and the reality was that we, with the reality of working in infrastructure projects and running a day job, we didn't get moving quite as quickly as we wanted to. The intention was that we were going to combine it with the ModelOff finals that were happening at the end of last year, beginning of this year. But what happened there really is that we ended up taking a much bigger role in ModelOff, and in fact, we as Gridlines acquired ModelOff. And we've been kind of lead sponsor then of that. So we got really involved in ModelOff. We became the lead sponsor. We acquired that, and we really put in a lot of focus into getting ModelOff to where we wanted it to be last year. And we just had the ModelOff finals a couple of weeks ago, and it was really tremendous fun. Really, we had over 100 people attend the finals in London. It was a fantastic event, and like the Innovation Awards, really our intention there is just to celebrate great talent and to celebrate really the cutting edge of modeling, because that's our passion.
So Kenny, the Financial Modeling Innovation Awards, I mean, just the judging panel are some of the sort of what one might call the brightest minds of deal making and financial modeling around the world. How do all of you get together to agree on who the winners should be?
Yeah, I mean, well, we've got some criteria around what we're looking for. I mean, it's really around, innovation. Obviously, we're looking for things that are genuinely new and interesting, but also kind of, practical application. We're looking for ideas and technologies that really benefit a majority of modelers. And so, I guess lots of stuff that we do. I mean, I work in infrastructure, and most of the projects I work on, and we work in our business, we work on as a remote team. We're, the client can be in the Middle East, the lawyers in London. We've got team members in the Middle East. We've got team members in India. We've got some team members in the UK, and everything's done remotely as a company. That's the way we work. And so for us, it's really second nature just to put together, to look and say, who do we want to have on this panel? And they really are from all over the world, and that for me is the really exciting part of it. And we can meet remotely, and then but the great thing is they're coming together in April to actually present the awards. And Danielle, one of the One of the judges is going to be there. You're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Natalie Bayfield is also one of the judges. She's going to be present as well. So, although we've been working remotely on the idea of the awards and the execution, it'll be really nice to bring it all together in person in London at the Excel Summit. So, yeah, looking forward to all of that, really.
So Kenny, let's talk again now about the Excel Summit. So obviously we're both going to be there. We're going to be recording some live podcasts from the event and, of course, interviewing some of the nominees and, of course, the winners of the awards as well. What else can people expect from the Global Excel Summit in London?
Look, for me, it just is a really exciting opportunity to bring together the leading minds in this. We just had Oz de Soleil at the ModelOff final, and he's just really great fun, presents really well. He's going to be one of the speakers there. Natalie Bayfield's going to be, is doing a keynote speech there, and it's really interesting because Excel can be seen by many as being so kind of dull, right? And modeling and spreadsheets, but yet for those of us who are in the middle of it, I mean, I really just think it's some of the most exciting stuff going on. Analysis for me, and crunching the numbers is right at the heart of so many key things that happen in our world, in our economy, in our culture. And people who are involved in in-depth analysis and modeling, they're really kind of unsung heroes from my perspective. And so I just love events that bring people together and celebrate that. And that's what I love about ModelOff. That's really why we got so involved in ModelOff, because we get to celebrate modeling talent. It's why we're doing the Innovation Awards, and it's why we sponsor this podcast and why we're involved in the awards, because everything we do hinges around analysis and modeling. And so for me, it's a chance to get together with like-minded people and to really celebrate the great work that goes on. That for me is just really, really fun. And it's also a chance to give back, because I feel like modeling has given me so many amazing opportunities in my career. I have traveled all over the world. I've worked with fantastic people. I work with fantastic people right now in our team who are dedicated, who are smart. And there's not kind of a global recognition of that kind of talent in the stuff that we do, Matthew. And so I just really love events that celebrate modelers and celebrate modeling.
And I love that as well. I've often said that if you understand a financial model, then you understand the entire deal. It's the one place where the entire deal, especially in an infrastructure finance deal, but in every type of deal, where the entire deal is really captured in one place. And I've always said, a financial modeler is really one person that should understand an entire deal.
That's right. It's where it all comes together. And I think there's we can get into this if you want, some structural weaknesses, if you like, in the modeling industry, and that modeling is seen as something that the most junior person does, and then modelers move on to more senior commercial roles. And I think that's such a shame that kind of bias exists, or that expectation exists, because as you say, the model is where the deal all comes together. And if you've got somebody who really understands the model and really understands the deal and can bring all that together, that person is invaluable, And that combination of skill sets, it's quite rare. The person who's a really excellent modeler but really gets things commercially as well. And that's, those individuals really treasured from my perspective, because, as you say, the model is where the whole deal comes together. And just expecting the most junior person in the team to take care of that, I think that's a shame. I love to see modeling celebrated as a career in its own right, and something that people should be proud of, not just a thing you do when you're a junior and then move on. That's just my stuff. But I really love to see it when I see teams where modeling is really taken seriously, and where it's a proper career path, and where the combination of Excel, modeling, technical skill goes hand in hand with commercial and analytical skill. That's just a killer combination.
And especially where the financial model can sometimes actually unlock a deal. Sometimes, the deal is perhaps just missing a hurdle rate, or it's just not feasible. And sometimes more innovative structuring through the financial modeling can actually unlock a deal.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And we've been working a lot on those kinds of issues, because we work a lot supporting bidders and infrastructure projects, and we're looking to get every angle of competitiveness for our clients. And so, for example, we've been working on technology to enable us to run, hundreds of iterations and sensitivities on a model in parallel, right? Because what we found is one of the things that really slows us down is having to run infrastructure models can take a little bit of time to run. And if you want to really test, almost kind of Monte Carlo like, test everything, in every combination and see where you can get, see where the optimizations lie. It can take a lot of time. So we've been working on technology to be able to run models in the cloud so we can run hundreds of sensitivities kind of simultaneously and really examine the model from every angle. And that's where the model can really unlock stuff, where slightly, I always tell students, because I teach modeling a lot, and I'm always like, have a hypothesis. Whenever you're running something in your model, have a hypothesis about what's going to happen. Before you run it, before you conduct your experiment, if you like, with the model, have a hypothesis of what's going to happen. But the really interesting stuff is when you're running a test on a model and it doesn't give you the results that you expect. Now, one of the reasons could be is the model is wrong. But the another reason is that actually the model is telling you something about the dynamics of that deal that you didn't already know. And we're seeing that quite a lot as as projects get more complex, as financing structures get more complex, as we're pushing the envelope on optimizations. What we often see is that the dynamics in the model are complex, and therefore, actually, when you test things in combinations, you sometimes get results that you didn't expect, and that's where the power of the model lies in actually, upending your understanding of some of the dynamics that you thought you understood, but put them together in a new way. You get a new dynamic, and that's when the model and the modeler can really add value, is to give new insights into some of those commercial relationships. So that's the stuff that I get really excited about, when a model can really do something new like that.
So we're now starting to talk a bit about financial modeling and data analytics. So we could easily go off in a tangent here and spend the next 3 hours discussing that between you and me.
We probably shouldn't do that, though.
But getting back to the podcast. So already February of 2020. What can people look forward to from Gridlines this year? Obviously, sponsoring the podcast. We're going to be together at the Global Excel Summit. That's over the next few months. Over the next sort of 12 months, what can people look forward to from Gridlines?
Well, as I say, we're kind of a big driving force behind ModelOff now, and so what we're doing, and that again is about celebrating modelers, and what we're doing there is we're turning it into more of a year-round competition rather than just the kind of once-off. So there's going to be some new competitions coming there. We're going to be releasing a completely free financial modeling course called Essential Financial Modeling, and also we've got a kind of exciting new offering or entity coming up on the project finance modeling and project finance training. So all those things going on, and also our own. We as a firm are really trying to push things with our own innovation in terms of the software that we're building. We've got 3 different software products that we're working on. One, what I mentioned about being able to run the model, run lots of versions of the model kind of simultaneously to be able to really do in-depth analysis very quickly. But also, we're also looking at we're also building other pieces of software that will be we're already what we're calling alpha testing, our main kind of model build product, and we've got some a really helpful, really, really dedicated group of alpha testers who've been helping us develop that, and we're going to be going into beta, a wider, more open beta test with that over the next couple of months, and we hope to be able to announce something about that at the Excel Summit as well. We're really just trying to push the boundaries of what's possible in modeling. And, what I see is that if we don't kind of disrupt ourselves, somebody else is going to come along and do it to us, right? The project, we're into, infrastructure is our key area. And that, the way those models built hasn't, of course the structures have changed, the projects have changed. And Excel gets bigger, it gets faster, computers get faster, but fundamentally, there's not been any big disruptive technology in the way that project finance and infrastructure models are built. So we're kind of looking to be that disruption over the next 12 months. So that's what we're all about.
Kenny, I can't tell you how excited that makes me. It's something I've been wishing for the past few years, having been a project finance modeler and infrastructure finance modeler, and now moved slightly away from that professionally. I look at the data analytics world that I'm involved in now, and the innovation is just so rapid. We've gone from, you had to know Python and you had to know the various libraries in order to do machine learning, and now you have automated machine learning. auto ML, where you kind of just say, this is what I'm looking for, this is a model, and you have things like Data Robot that will run hundreds of models in parallel and choose the best model for you, and you don't even need to know a line of code. Yet when it comes to building, as you say, these large project finance models that finance billions of dollars of deals, the innovation just hasn't seemed to have been there.
It's really true. It's really true. I think there's some real structural reasons for that, right? I mean, I think the need to share these models, the fact that they do underpin such big financing tickets and therefore need to be audited. There are some processes there that cause the whole thing to kind of be stuck in Excel, right? And then any efforts to replace that with software inevitably isn't flexible enough to be able to contend quickly with the shifts. And any piece of software that would seek to replace that would have to be accepted simultaneously by the whole market. And so the kind of network effect of Excel is so strong in this market that I think any innovation needs to be built in the near term on the back of Excel. And so that's what we're looking to do with our kind of model build tool is to say, well, look, Excel is not going to go away. But actually there's much better ways we could, we're kind of building a modeling layer that sits on top of Excel, and does a lot of the grunt work that we find. Certainly our team spend a lot of time doing repetitious tasks, that actually large chunks of these models are pretty similar. And then there's the key differences. It's kind of an 80-20 rule, right? So we're trying to automate where we can, but still provide all the flexibility that means the modeler can really make a difference on the deal. So that's what we're trying to do. And that's our hypothesis, is that there's a strong network effect around Excel that's both a strength, but also has been an inhibitor of innovation.
Well, Kenny, I think you hit the nail on the head there, because I think what a lot of people, especially people that don't work in infrastructure finance or haven't been involved in an infrastructure finance deal, don't necessarily understand is the amount of parties that actually see the model. It's not just the investment banks, it's the banks, it's the technical advisors, even the lawyers will have a look, the auditors. There'll be so many different parties that have a look at that model that if we suddenly had to say, actually, we're developing the model in Python, no longer Excel, you suddenly have to upskill 20 different organizations involved in the deal to be comfortable with that new modeling technology.
That's right, and the fact is the model is written into the contract. Oftentimes, the contract will make reference to sections of the model, and so it needs to be a standalone. The model is it becomes a legal document in its own right. So yeah, lots of structural structural constraints within this market that have really stood in the way of innovation, but also it caused us to, we've all been then pushing the boundaries of modeling. And I like to think that project finance is at the top end of kind of what you can do with Excel at the time, because we have to really push with the tool that we've got.
Absolutely. Kenny, you're obviously, as you said, Gridlines is involved in infrastructure finance deals. Sticking with technologies and innovation, what are the big innovations you see in the infrastructure world? Are we going to be, this year, we're going to be starting to finance widespread magnetic levitation trains? Are we going to be financing Elon's Hyperloop? What are we going to be looking at from an infrastructure perspective this year and the next few years?
It's interesting. Obviously, what I see, a lot of the stuff that we're doing is around renewable energy, power, water, and we see massive leaps and bounds in the renewables. I think we're going to see that battery storage technologies they're already progressing at an incredible pace, and so I think that's going to be really interesting. I think you're going to see a lot more around data. We're seeing a lot of projects around upping broadband capacities and so on. So a lot of these seem pretty pedestrian, but are the backbone of what we do in our economies, right? Power and data. So we see a lot happening there. Obviously, e-mobility is huge, and we're seeing that. I think we're just going to I think it's just getting started. We're at the cusp of a complete transport revolution, and so that's going to be a fascinating scene to play out. And just reading today that the UK government have brought forward the date in which there'll be no new diesel or petrol cars. It's kind of that market is being transformed in an incredible pace. So yeah, these are some of the areas I think we'll see incredible innovation over the next few years.
I certainly
what about you, Matthew? What do you see?
Yes, I certainly agree with you on batteries for renewable energy. I think whenever people talk disparagingly about renewable energy, it's that it only provides energy at certain times of the day. Okay, so you've got a solar plant, but it only provides you energy during the day. So I think we need to start banking batteries and building those into solutions so that we have sustainable energy from those solutions and we can store that energy. And I think anything in transport, absolutely. I think transport is a huge one, especially as we try and reduce emissions and start to look after the world in a lot better way that we should. And I think the third one, and somebody highlighted this to me online, and I didn't even think about it until they spoke to me about it, and that's these almost speed projects. And if we look now, obviously with the coronavirus, China built a hospital in 6 days.
I know, right? Incredible. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And so I've been asking a few people, what's the next big thing in infrastructure? And somebody said perhaps it's these speed projects, these projects where there's suddenly a massive need for large scale infrastructure, and it's just developed at just such a huge, tremendous pace.
And we're seeing these 3D printed buildings, right? I mean, that's just incredible technology.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think certainly a lot of change in the construction technology sector, whether that's building a digital twin of an infrastructure asset and all the way to 3D printing, as you say, which obviously, we're now starting to realize is perhaps a bankable technology.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, what are your upcoming highlights for the year aside from Gridlines? I mean, you've got so much on. You've just had ModelOff. We've got the Financial Modeling Innovation Award, the Global Excel Summit, and that just takes us to April.
Well, tomorrow night, I'm excited to be going to the Project Finance International Awards and picking up an award for a project that we worked on, the Damat Al Jandal wind project in Saudi Arabia, won best wind project, and so we're going along with Masdar and EDF, who we're very proud to work on that project with, and so we're just excited to see. Lots of really interesting deals coming to the market, and renewable projects getting bigger, getting more interesting, as I say, combined with storage and people pushing boundaries there. So we're really looking forward to that. Obviously, the Excel Summit coming up. We're really looking forward to many more interesting things with ModelOff. So all in all, 2020 just frankly couldn't be a more exciting year. There's just so many interesting things coming up this year. Just thrilled, and of course the best thing of all is going to be season 3 of this podcast.
Absolutely. Kenny, my final question to you is this. You've obviously been building models and you've been building them in Excel. Besides for Excel, what is the tool that has made your life easier to build financial models or to audit financial models? Whatever it is, what's made your life as a financial modeler easier to work with in Excel?
Does it have to be a tool in Excel?
It doesn't have to be a tool in Excel. Any technology that's made your life easier.
Well, as a team, because we work as a distributed team, the thing that we have really just fallen in love with is Trello. We find that Trello works so well as for a team who are working collaboratively on a model, having a shared dynamic to-do list that where basically every task in the model and all of our checklists that we have all exist in there, and we've just found that ups our efficiency. All of the, and we're really kind of treating the model like software then, right? Bugs that come up, change requests, checklists that we go through at key points in a transaction, having a shared dynamic place to work with all of that, communicate about it. We just, as a team, because we're working all over the world and with clients all over the world, we found that we've just really fallen in love with that as a piece of software. Slack helps us communicate really well. So we can work asynchronously as a team, and that enables work to go on round the clock. So actually some of the key enabling technologies that make us work well as a modeling team are actually outside Excel. And then finally Zoom, when we can have face-to-face chats about a model, share the screen, and we really can work collaboratively from anywhere. And so those three tools, I mean that, as a global team, it's like we're sitting next to each other in the office. We can look over each other's shoulders, and we can review work together. We can troubleshoot. We can manage our tasks. We can communicate, and that's all the stuff around modeling that makes all the difference, actually, to the quality of the model at the end of the day. Facilitating good team communication, managing workflow, allowing people to pick up where they left off, knowing what's happened, knowing what's changed. All of that stuff. Of course, there's great review tools inside. I mean, we use Oak regularly. We have our own review tools. So there's great stuff inside Excel, but those three technologies, so Trello, Slack, and Zoom, they really stitch us together as a team and mean that we can work confidently and work really well together.
I love it. Building the financial modeling teams of the future.
It's the financial modeling stack, we like to call it.
I love it. Kenny, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, and looking forward to having you as a guest as we take the trip to London.
Can't wait to see you in London, man. Thanks so much for doing what you do.
Chat soon.
Cheers. Bye now.